Today we're going to learn how to subtract fractions. It's nearly the same procedure as adding fractions. There's just another couple of additional things that you may need to know, you will need to know when you are subtracting fractions. Alright, so this is just revising same sort of things we were talking about with addition of fractions. So when you have common denominators, all you do is take away the 3 from the 7. So we're just doing the operation with the numerators. Okay, so 7 take away 3 is 4. And remember, we leave the denominators the same because they're talking about the number of pieces that they're cut into. Alright, just write down the example. You don't have to write down the sentence at the bottom because you've already got that in your addition of fractions. Now again, like this, it's the same steps as adding fractions. So you find the lowest common multiple for the denominators if they're not common denominators. Then you convert the fractions to common denominators, subtract the numerators. So the only difference, instead of adding, you're actually subtracting. You keep the common denominator and make sure to simplify the answer if you need to. So now we're going to do an example of subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. Obviously, the first step is to find the common denominator. So we have to look at the denominators and see that 7 and 4, the lowest number that they can both be multiplied to evenly is 28. So we need to convert them to 28s. Alright, so 7 times 4 is 28. And what we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. So we have to multiply the numerator by 4. So that's 16. Then we have to do the quarter fraction. So 4 times 7 is 28. Then we have to multiply the numerator by 7. 1 times 7 is 7. 16 take away 7 is 9. So we've got, and then the denominators stay the same. So 9 28ths. Now, is that its simplest form? We have 3 3s are 9. Can 28 be divided by 3? No, 3 9s are 27. I think that's its simplest form. So 9 over 28 is the answer. Alright, here's another couple of examples where we have to find a common denominator because they don't actually have one. Now sometimes one of the fractions actually has the common denominator to both. So in this case, 5/8, the 8 will actually go into itself once, and 4 can be multiplied by 2 to get 8. So we don't actually have to change 5/8. We're actually going to convert 3/4 into 8s. So 4 times 2 is 8. What we do to the bottom, we must do to the top. So 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 3 is 6. And then we don't have to change 5/8 because it already has the denominator as 8. Alright, 6 minus 5 is 1/8. Now obviously that is in its simplest form. We can't break that down anymore. Now remembering we have the butterfly method as well. So let's do this next one with the butterfly method. So when using the butterfly method, we don't have to worry about common denominators. We can just multiply 3 by 9 to get 27. And then 4 times 1 is 4. Now, what will be the denominator though? We have to multiply the two bottom numbers together. Now, this won't give us the lowest common multiple. It may sometimes, but other times it won't. It may not. 4 9s are 36. So then we're going to change it to 36s. All right, so then we do the sum with the numerators, so 27 minus 4. So we've got 23 over 36. Now 23 is a prime number, so therefore we know that we don't have to simplify it anymore. That is its simplest form, 23 over 36. Sometimes when you're subtracting fractions, you need to subtract using mixed numbers. So when we do this, like we do with the addition, we can do the whole numbers first. So 8 take away 7 is 1. And because this first example has common denominators, we can already just do the sum with the numerators. So 11 take away 9 is 2, keeping the denominator as 14ths. All right, now, is this the final answer? Well, if you said no, you would be correct because we still have to simplify this answer. So 2 and 14 can still be simplified down. So the whole number is still 1. Then we have 2 will go into itself once, and 2 will go into 14 7 times. Alright, so 2 7s are 14. So then we find that the simplified answer for this is 1 and 1/7. Okay, now sometimes, as in this second example, they don't have common denominators. So we need to find the common denominator and do the sum. Alright, in this case we can do the whole number, so 9 take away 5 is 4. And then we still have to, we're actually adding that to 5 6. But we're taking away the fractions. Okay, so we need to find the common denominator of 6 and 9. So it will actually be 18. 6 times 3 is 18. So what we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. 9 times 2 is 18. Alright, so it'll be 4 and 15 18ths. Take away 8 18ths. So the answer is 4 and 7 18ths. Alright, now that is its simplest form, so that's the answer. Alright, sometimes the fraction at the start of the sum is not big enough to be taken away, to take away. In this case, 2/3 is actually bigger than 1/3. So if we're just going to use the fractions to do the sum, then it's not going to work in this case. So sometimes this will happen and you have to borrow from the whole number, because this whole sum here, the whole fraction, the first fraction, 5 and 1/3, is actually bigger than 2 and 2/3 altogether. So we have to borrow some from the 5. We know that 1 whole will equal 3/3. So we're going to take 1 away to make that 4, and then we're going to put 3 pieces of the whole with the 1. So it'll be 3 plus 1. So that will make it 4 and 4/3. Now we can take 2 and 2/3 away from it. Alright, so now we do the sum like we did the previous time with the whole numbers. So 4 take away 2 is 2. And then 4 take away 2 again is 2. So 2 2/3 is the answer. I hope you're writing these down when you see the symbol at the top right hand corner. Okay, so let's do this when we are borrowing a whole number. Again, it's the same thing here. 1/11 is actually smaller than 1/4. So we can't just use the fraction 1/11 to take 1/4 away from it. We have to borrow from the whole number of 11. So we can see that, so at 11 over 11 equals a whole number, so we'll change this to 10. And so this, we need to add 11 to the 1, so 11 plus 1. So in this case it will be 10 and 12/11 minus 1 1/4. Now we still have to now find the common denominators and do the sum like normal subtraction. Alright, 10 take away 1 is 9. And what are we going to use as the common denominator? Well, in this case, you can just multiply 4 times 11 to get 44. So what did we do to the 11 to get 44? So we times it by 4. So what we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. So 4 12s 48. Now what did we do to this 4? We times it by 11, didn't we? So we have to times the numerator by 11. So that's only 1/11 is 11. So 11 over 44 equals 1/4. Right, now we can actually complete the operation. So 48 take away 11 is 37. Over 44. Alright, now that cannot be simplified any further, so that is the answer, 9 and 37 over 44. Alright, another way of subtracting mixed numbers, instead of having to borrow from the whole number, if you find that confusing, you can actually just change it to an improper fraction. So I'm going to do 8 5/12 minus 3 3/4, and I'm going to change this to an improper fraction. Alrighty, so to do that, we multiply 12 by 8, and then we add the numerator. Okay, so we have to do that to both of these to work out the improper fraction. So 12 eighths are 96, plus 5 is 101 twelfths, minus 4 threes are 12, plus 3 is 15 quarters. Now, we still have different denominators, so now we need to change them to common denominators. Now in this case, 12 is the highest multiple, the lowest common multiple, sorry, I should say. 4 will go into 12 3 times, and 12 will go into itself once. So we don't have to change the first fraction, we just have to change the second one. So 4 times 3 is 12, so therefore we have to multiply the numerator by 3 to get twelfths. Alright, so 3 15s are 45. Then we just subtract 45 from 101, which is 56. Now, that's not the end of it. We still now need to convert it to a mixed number and simplify. So, 4 12s are 48, so we know that there are 4 whole in this fraction, and then 8 left over. But we can also see from this that both of 8 and 12 are even numbers, so then we still have to simplify it down. Alright, so they can both be divided evenly by 4 to break it down to its simplest form. So it's 4 and 4 2s are 8, 4 3s are 12. Therefore, the simplest form and answer to this question is 4 and 2/3. Can you please write this one down? Even though I haven't got the little picture at the top right hand corner, I still want you to have this in your books as an example. Hopefully you can use this information to understand more about subtracting fractions.